Welcome, and today we are going to be going over this message, in which I have prepared. It's been on my heart since about the summertime. It's called The Disciplined Disciple. And it's heavy. It's a heavy piece for me because discipline is very key in this walk. Learning is a key thing in this walk. So, explaining what it is and where I came from with this message is very key to this walk, right? So, another word or the word for disciple is taught one, right? In your Sefer, you'll see it says Talmudim. Me personally, I don't like that word because it sounds very close to the Talmud, the Babylonian Talmud. From your Strong's Dictionary, the first one is H3925, which is Lamad. 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 I'll give y'all time to write. See y'all still doing what y'all got to do, understandably. Now, the word lamad means to properly goad, which is taking a rod and you poking it or beating it with the rod with that rod of correction or whatever that correction looks like. It was for those who were tending the ox. They had to goad the ox to get the ox to go where they wanted the ox to go. So it says properly to goad, to teach, right? Accustomed, is that Luke 4 again, diligently, expert, instruct, learn, skillful teach, teacher, or teaching. And it gives more. It says the intense or facultative form the root takes on the meaning of imparting learning. The verb simply means to teach, and it gives us, sure I got it right. Yep. 2 Chronicles 17, 7 and 9, right? If you will, someone scroll over to 2 Chronicles chapter 17, verses 7 and 9, or 7 through 9. When you get there, say you're there, please.
I'm there.
All right. Yes, sir. All right. So within these two or three verses, it's going to it's going to tell you where we are, who's there, and what is being taught here. Someone care to read? Oh man, I'll read all day, but
I will.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. 2 Chronicles 17:9. And they taught in Judah and had the book of the law of Yahuah with them, and went about throughout all the cities of Judah and taught the people.
Thank you. So now, with that being said, so this is some people ask, oh, what book of the law were they teaching, or the book of the law of Yahuah were they teaching? That's the Torah, right? Someone mentioned it earlier. I think it was you, Moshe, where it says, at the end of the day, it's all about the Torah. Right? You can't get away from it. You can say this to say that. We're going back to Torah. So now, to continue with the definition here, those are the two scriptures that were given in an example. Or to teach people things Yahuah taught his people, and it gives Jeremiah 31-34. Right? 31-34. Jeremiah 31-34. And that reads. All right, you go.
Hold on just a second, because everyone's familiar with Jeremiah 31-31.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremiah 31. Thank you.
Yes, sir. It was 2 Chronicles 17, verse 9, for the first scripture that I named here.
Should be in the chat there.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Ina.
Moshe, would you care to read Jeremiah 31-34, sir?
Got it. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahuah, for they shall know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahuah. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more.
So there's going to come a time where these, like, Benny and Navia mentioned it earlier, there's going to be the time there will be no more cell phone gatherings, because we're going to need to. The word is going to be taught to us to the point where we don't have to teach anyone this Torah. Yes, sir.
Man, it's so good, because this is one of the questions Truth Unedited mentioned. I don't know if you guys are watching his series. You should.
I am.
Dispelling Christianity. And one of the questions, the very first question on his test, to see whether or not you still have a Christian mindset, is who was the covenant made with?
Mm-hmm.
And I know everyone on this call is going to say who?
Yisra'el, more than the Southern Kingdom.
Prove it. Prove it according to the Bible.
So Jeremiah 31.
Yep, you just go a few verses back, and it's going to prove it. Someone else should read this, though, Azariah. Let's get somebody else to read this, because this is, your family's going to do this during the holiday. Mm-hmm. Prove to me that it's not the Christian. Prove to me, prove it. And when they prove it, you're going to prove it right here. Starting at verse 31 and reading down to where Azariah wants you to. This is where you prove it, family.
Behold, take it out. Yes, sir. Behold, right, the days come, says Yahuah. I will cut a renewed covenant with the house of Yisra'el.
No, man, the Christians, bro. No, the Christians and the Catholics.
No, sir. No way, Jose. So it says, not according to the covenant that I cut with their fathers in the days that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Mitzrayim, which my covenant they broke. Although I was a husband unto them, says Yahuah, but this shall be the covenant that I will cut with the house of Yisra'el. After those days, says Yahuah, I will put my Torah in their inward hearts, and write in their hearts, and will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people, and they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother saying, Know Yahuah, for they shall all know me, from the least of them until the greatest of them, says Yahuah. For I will forgive their iniquities, and I will remember their sins no more.
Stop right there. Yeah, let's stop right there, because did he say the whole world?
No.
No, he just said Israel. If you go back all the way up to verse 31, he says, well, I'm not talking about the old covenant. I'm talking about the new covenant with Christians. No, the new covenant is not even with Christians either.
No, sir.
The new covenant is even with Israel. And the reason why I'm passionate about this is because somebody's going to call you up and wish you a damn Merry Christmas. Someone's going to do it. And you're going to try to explain yourself, and they're going to say, prove it. And you're going to say, no, the new covenant. It's still with the house of Judah. It's still with them. It's not going to leave. And I need you to grab this verse and put it in your phone, in your rear pocket, or never forget it. Because when I talk to people, this pops up, 31:31, Jeremiah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, for bringing it out, man. And by the way, why we don't have to do it is because it'll be written in our heart through the power of the Ruach HaKodesh. We'll obey it. And anybody know whose kingdom they're talking about right here?
They're talking about
Yahusha's kingdom.
Yes.
Yep. There's no need to teach it anymore. Because everyone will be obeying. Yahusha will be in charge. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And also, I'm glad that you had him read 31-33 again, where it says, verse 33, for this covenant I shall make with the whole house of Yahshua. In those days, declares Yahuwah, I shall put my Torah in their inward parts and write it on their hearts. So if it just came to me to what that particular sentence in that verse came, and when you go and see Deuteronomy 6 and 8, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon their head, and they shall be frontlets and between their eyes. That's also, that lines up with your Shema, because at that time we are given the Shema, we will have these words in our minds and on our hands, right there, doorposts of our house and everything. So we're continually being taught and teaching. It's going to come a time where we're not doing that anymore. So now that was H39:28. I'm sorry, 39:25. Lamad. Yes, sir. Now the other definition, which was also which it derived into, was H39:28. Limud. Limmud. Limmud. Yes, sir. Instructed, accustomed, as Luke 4 again, disciple, learned, taught, used. A masculine adjective meaning accustomed, used to something, learned, practice, an expert, one taught, a follower, disciple. Used to describe those who habitually practice evil as well. Jeremiah 13:23. That's where it was talking about those who were working iniquities and evil. They were taught. They were disciples of that other name that I'm not going to say, that starts with a B and ends with an N-O. The word is also used once to denote Yeshayahu or Isaiah's disciples in Isaiah verses 8 and 16. And as we have here, you'll see Isaiah 8:16 twice, Isaiah 50:4, Isaiah 54:13. What does Isaiah 50:4 say? Well, let's take a trip over there. I need readers for this today.
Sure,
there's a lot. So, who is going to fit in this train? Can I get you to read Isaiah 50:4?
Copy. I'm here right now.
All right. Then Sirach 38:24 and Sirach 42:8.
54. You said Barak.
38:24.
38:24.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Sirach 42:8.
Sirach.
I can read Sirach 38:24. I have it up.
Okay.
Okay, so it's Isaiah 50:4, Sirach 24, and there was another third one.
Yes, Sirach 42:8.
42:8.
Yeah. We'll bang on those three real fast, and we're gonna move it along. I don't want to take too much of everybody's time today. It's a lot, but just bear with me, y'all.
It's good already. Chapter 50:4, right?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Is everybody there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here we go. The book of Isaiah, chapter 50, and verse 4, and it reads as follows. Adonai Yahuah has given me the tongue of the learned, that I should know how to speak a word in season to him that is weary. He wakens, what is that? He wakens morning by morning. He wakens my ear to hear as the learned.
Yes.
Can I continue?
Yes, sir. That's it right there. That's what I need from you. So with those learned, right? You'll have a question like, well, who were the learned? So you know those such as Isaiah, Yisra'el, the prophets, right? Because I didn't realize Moshe was a prophet as well, and they were used by Yahuwah. He had their ears. He taught them. Moshe went up to the mount 40 days. He taught Moshe. He taught Abraham. He taught Enoch. Right? He taught all of them his ways. So they are his ones, and these taught ones taught every man in their households. So you got Sirach 38:24 pulled up, Moshe?
Yes, I do.
Right.
That's behind that one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let me see. Sirach. I might be able to share it. I'm gonna read it from you may not like the translation, but some the good news translation here. Here we go. Scholars must have time to study if they are going to be wise. They must be relieved of their responsibilities. How can a farm hand gain knowledge when his only ambition is to drive the oxen and to make them work? When all he knows to talk about is livestock. He takes great pains to plow a straight furrow and will work far into the night to feed the animals. Hallelujah. What caught my attention is, I think it's when you get down to the bottom, it's like the last verse. Is it 31?
It's 34 is the last verse.
But understand, even these people aren't looked down upon. So he goes, number one, scholars need to be able to focus on scholarship. Y'all read that? Y'all understood that? But you get down to 31. But all of these people are skilled in their what? Hand. Each of them are experts in their own craft. Without such people, there could be what? No cities. No one could live or visit where these services were not available. These people are not sought out to serve in public council, and they never attain positions of great importance. Listen though, and they do not serve as judges, and they do not understand legal matters. They have no education, and they are not known for their wisdom. Sounds bad, huh? But here, listen to this. Listen to y'all. You never hear them quoting Proverbs, but the work they do holds the what?
State of the world together.
Man, the work they do holds the world together. So no one is more important or less important in Yah's eyes. When they do their work, it is the same as offering prayer.
That's why it says, do everything as we do it unto Yah.
See, so sometimes we stop at the top and we're like, oh, I'm not the mouthpiece for Yah, so I must not be important. I'm just a farmer. I just raise the chicken. I just teach the children. Man, you hold the world together. Hallelujah. You hold the world together.
Hold on, for that, brother. Hold on, you still in Sirach?
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm right here on your verse 24. Get after it.
Yeah, we can, yeah. Oh, let's go to Sirach 42 and 8. Right up the street a little bit. Yeah.
Sirach 42?
I got you. 42 and 8?
Yes, sir.
Everybody ready? Be not ashamed to inform the unwise and foolish and the extreme age that contends with those that are young. Thus shall you be truly learned and approved of all men living.
So, there's times I've heard you mention in the past, like, we got these young brothers here, and we got these older brothers here, and we got you in the middle here. You are I forgot how you said, but you're the go-between between the elder ox and the younger ox, right? So, not saying I'm using myself, but not saying that I'm the one. So now, like, there are things that I could show you, Benayah, Akitata, and still show Yirmiyahu, Yamir, and whichever other younger brothers that we have, right, that can bridge and learn between each other so that we are all approved of the men living. So we like, all right, well, these brothers, they may be old in their age. They don't know what they're talking about. Yes, they do. They got younger brothers that's going to show them what's up. Like Benayah said, he is the tablet, he is the application king.
Hallelujah.
You know what I'm saying? We are some learning and learned brothers, right? I like to use the proper tense and not the past tense because we are still learning. We're going to be ever learning the word and allowing it to come to us and He may manifest into us. So the next verse that I have. Yes, sir.
Before we run through that one, I wanted to slow it down, only because I was reading. I appreciate you sharing this in the men's chat. The verses, because it caught my attention in 42 and 8. It's tough, man. If we read that slow, it says, it says, be not ashamed, right? You see that? Mm-hmm. Be not ashamed to inform the unwise and foolish and the extreme age that contendeth with those that are young. We got a problem now, though, in our culture.
Come on.
The problem in our culture is we're not supposed to, be calling out and rebuking our elders. Thus shalt thou be truly learned and approved of all men living. Everybody know the story of Shoshana, especially my women. Y'all know the story of Shoshana? Okay. Remember, a young man is the one who uncovered the wickedness of the older man. Remember who that was?
Okay. Yes.
It was Daniel. His name was Daniel. I believe it's the same Daniel who got carried off into Babylon, but it could have been another Daniel. But I believe it was Daniel. And as I was reading this, it made me go over to Timothy. Timothy chapter 1 starting at, 1 Timothy chapter 5. 1 Timothy chapter 5 starting at verse 17. And here's the reason why we got to bring this up. You can be an elder in two ways. How can we be what's the two ways we can be an elder in Israel?
Age and function.
Age and in function. I got to get there. Sorry, y'all. Timothy. I just wrote these notes down in my notebook. Because it's tough, man. And we got to talk about eldership because we have an elder now. So we got to talk about this. like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on in Israel that I realize I have to address now because it's up. And what's up is individualism, individualites. We say we don't believe in individualites here. If you want to be an individualite, you will hate this Mishpacha. You will hate us because we ain't a bunch of individuals. We family. We family over here.
One body.
Man, I'm sorry, I'm still turning slowly. 1 Timothy, chapter 5, starting at verse 17.
Started to show,
Hey, Elder, you want to read this one starting at verse 17 down to 20?
Yes, sir. I'll take it.
Yes, sir.
Let the elders that rule well be counted worthy of double honor, especially they who labor in the word and doctrine. For the scripture says, you shall not muzzle the ox that treads out the grain, and the laborer is worthy of his reward. Against an elder, receive not an accusation, but before 2 or 3 witnesses. Them that sin.
Oh, no, that's good. That's good. So we're to a place where 2 things are happening. You all see that? One, an elder should be a person who should be able to lead in right doctrine. And because of that, he's deserving of what type of honors? Double honors. And when he's working, and you go back to that first verse you talked about, Ak, in 38:24, this person needs time to focus on the scriptures, needs time to be scholarly. Why? Because when people come to him for judgment, he needs to be able to rightly divide the what?
The word
of truth, according to what? 2 Timothy 2:15, right? He has to be able to do that. So when I'm looking here, you just can't go around accusing elders. But if you do, you better be right. And this is why you need to bring what, according to verse 19?
2 witnesses.
Minimum, you got to get this right. If you vote a man or men to be your judges and elders, that means you're entrusting them to make righteous judgments. And if you can't trust them, you should have made them an elder. All right? But here's how it goes. If they have to go ahead and make a judgment, you're going to have to go ahead and fall in line. That's why I wanted to bring it back to, sorry, it says, don't muzzle an ox. Every preacher in the world says, that means my paycheck. You know what I mean? Every preacher in the world will say, hey, I got to study. You know, they ain't be studying. They still lie to you. But 1 Corinthians chapter 9, brother, give you the tie here. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, starting at verse 7. I need a reader in my house. 1 Corinthians chapter 9. It talks about don't muzzle an ox. What does it say?
Don't deny him.
Let's go ahead and read it.
1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 7.
Yes, ma'am.
Howbeit, there is not in every man that knowledge. Some with conscience of the idol unto this hour eat as a thing offered unto an idol, and their conscience being weak is defiled.
Is that down to 10?
That was verse 7.
Okay, 8, 9, 10.
But meat commanded us not to Yah, for neither if we eat are we better, neither if we eat not are we worse. But take heed lest by any means this liberty of yours becomes a stumbling block to them that are weak. For if any man see these which has knowledge sit at meat in the idol's temple, shall not the conscience of him which is weak be emboldened to eat those things which are offered to idols?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had the wrong verse for you there. My apologies. The reason I want this to stay on this with the elders is because we have to understand how we are supposed to treat them. And the reader, yes, ma'am.
She was reading from 1 Corinthians chapter 8. I think.
Oh, I said 9. Oh, you read the wrong chapter.
I think if you go to 9:7, it's right.
Okay, yeah, go to 9:7, daughter. I thought you were reading it.
Who goeth a warfare any time at his own charge? Who planteth a vineyard and eateth not of the fruit thereof? Or who feedeth a flock and eateth not of the milk of the flock? Say I these things as a man, or saith not the law? Saith not the law, saying also. For it is written in the law of Moshe, Thou shalt not muzzle the mouth of the ox that treadeth out the corn. Doth Yah take care for oxen, or saith he altogether for our sake? For our sake, no doubt this is written, that he that ploweth should plow in hope, and he that thresheth in hope shall partakers of his hope.
Elders should not be burdened doing his job that we ask him to do. That's what I'm getting at. And thank you for reading the right verse. Do you understand that he shouldn't be burdened with the job that we ask him to do? Am I making sense?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure, because this is things that people are throwing away in Israel. They're just throwing away. We don't need anyone to look after us. Every man can just figure out. Yes, we can. But what if I'm out of line? Then I'm gonna have to entrust that the people that we put in place are going to get me back on the right path. And that's what we're getting after here. Deuteronomy 25. Deuteronomy 25 and verse 4. Got something? Just real quick, because I just want to just show you where it is, and then I'm going to leave it in Azariah's hands real quick. But he made a great point with this scholar thing, and it caught my attention.
You want to read that?
Yes, Deuteronomy 25. I'm not there to the numbers. Deuteronomy 25 and verse 4.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Let's do 2 through 4.
All right. And it shall be, if the wicked man be worthy to be beaten, that the judge shall cause him to lie down and to be beaten before his face, according to his fault, by a certain number. 40 stripes he may give him, and not exceed, less, if he should exceed and beat him above these with many stripes, then your brother should seem vile unto you. You shall not muzzle the ox when he treads out the grain.
What I'm saying, all I'm getting at, y'all, is to be this learned person that Azariah is going over, to be this elder, to be this judge. There's things that the judge or the elder is going to have to do that's not going to be becoming or be liked by everybody. And because of that, people start looking down on the judge or elder. And that's what I was trying to get at, is making sure that we understand that our judges and elders are here to help us, not to hurt. That's all. Sorry about that. Thank you.
That's all right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That was off of both of the 2 of the chapters in Sirach. So now we're gonna make our way back to Isaiah 54 and 13. You get there, let me know if you beat me. Hey, you came in second place. So yeah. I get another reader for Isaiah 54 and 13 and Isaiah 8 and 6. I'll get the Isaiah 54. Hold on. Okay. Benny, if you can you start from verse 11 and read down to 13 for me, Aki? Thank you, Yahoo.
Isaiah 54. Yahoo. Oh, you afflicted, tossed with tempest, and not comforted. Behold, I will lay your stones with fair color, and lay your foundations of castle. And I will make your windows a gate, and your gates of carbuncle, and all of your borders of pleasant stone. And all your children shall be taught of Yahuah, and great shall be the peace of your children. Keep going up. Keep going up.
Oh, that's it. That's another rendition of us being taught by Yahuah and of him, taught his ways, which were passed down through times and through times and through times. So, does anybody have any precepts for Isaiah 54 and 11 through 13?
I do. And verse 14.
Okay.
Because it establishes all of that. It says, in righteousness shall you be established. That's the reason we're doing those things. 7 through 13. You shall be far from oppression, for you shall not fear, and from terror, for it shall not come near you. See, that's where we have to get. We have to have all trust in Yah, and through establishing our household, that's what it's going to look like. We'll be far from oppression. We'll be free, just like Hamashiach said. We'll be free indeed.
Yes, sir. Can you hit 15 for me, sir? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Moshe, this for you.
Behold, they shall surely gather together. They shall surely gather together. They shall surely gather together, but not by me. Whosoever shall gather together against you shall fall for your sake. Allow Yah.
There's that assembling again. Just another portion of that toolbox and that armament that Moshe gave us this morning, as far as not forsaking the assembly. Yeah, Yahoo, ready for Isaiah? Emma has her hand raised. Oh, I'm sorry, yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Oh, yes, sir. I was just saying for that verse 14, and I think Elder brought it up too, in righteousness shall you be established. You shall be far from oppression. When we look at Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 25 again, Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 25, because it's using that word righteousness. And it says, in righteousness shall you be established. And then in Deuteronomy 6:25 it says, and it shall be our righteousness if we guard to do all these commandments before Yahuah Eloheinu as he commanded us. So again, being a disciplined disciple means that you're going to guard and follow the commandments of Yah, and that's going to be your righteousness. So when I look at 14, that's one of the first verses I thought about in terms of your righteousness being established. And then on that second part where it says, you shall be far from oppression, I believe it's in Matthew where he talks about, take my yoke upon me. And we've talked about this before, that, that yoke that we would take upon ourselves of Yah is Torah, and that his burden is light. So I'm like, we're oppressed in this world when we don't take Yah's yoke upon us, we are oppressed. And so having his yoke of Torah, his yoke of his commandments, that's our righteousness, and we will be far from oppression.
It's conditional, it looks like, too. You see that big old if you observe, which means you have to have an option not to observe. So, big old if.
That was Deuteronomy 26:25.
No, 6.
Deuteronomy 6.
Last verse.
Deuteronomy 6:25.
For 14.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Allow Yah. And you said Matthew was what? Take my yoke.
I'll put it in the next in the chat.
Okay.
Going off the top, I'll find the exact precept.
Not there.
Hey, Azariah, can I read that Isaiah 54:15 again? I read that wrong. The wrong understanding.
That's right.
Salaki Mishpacha. It's a continuation of verse 14. And I just read it again because, the Ruach brought me back to it. Because I was in area when I was saying they shall surely gather together. I was making that stand out, but I made it stand out for the wrong reason. And from terror, verse 14, reading from at the end.
Yes.
And from terror, for it shall not come near you.
Come on.
Behold, they shall surely gather together, but not by me. They're not gathering because of Yah. That gathering that is talking about there is talking about bringing the terror.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? So whosoever, and it continues to verify that, whosoever shall gather together against you shall fall for your sake. So the believers, the righteous, those of us who keep coming together, and we're gathering because of Yah, He keeps all these things away from us. And He's also saying, behold, they shall surely gather together as well. But they're not gathering by Yah. And because of Yah. They're gathering so that they can come against you. But whosoever shall gather together against you, they're going to fail.
That's right. Now another precept for that is Psalms 27. When my enemies and my foes came up against me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Right.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir. Stop. Allah, yeah. What we got next? Isaiah 8, right? 16. Yes. Jeremiah, you ready?
Yes. Isaiah 8 and 6. 16?
Yes, sir.
Bind up the testimony, seal the Torah among my disciples.
Yes. So there we are. We see again who's getting this Torah, who's it staying, who's the Torah staying with. Right? Yes, we have disciples. It's bigger than just 12 disciples. It's bigger than just 11 prophets. All His disciples are those who keep Torah, and it's telling us to bind that Torah up. The witnesses. We are witnesses of His word. We are witnesses of His mercies. We are witnesses of all that He has done, past, present, and what's to come. We are witnesses of that. We are living like Coach Ania said it. I don't know if it was last Shabbat or the Shabbat before that, but she said it's in my other book. But we are walking scriptures to those who are looking to us. We are the living Bibles. We are those Bibles that those people read and gather from us. 3 o'clock. So we are a walking testimony. Yeah, that's for you. We are a walking testimony. E'dah. E'dah. All right, what's next? What we got? Okay, so now if you turn with me to Deuteronomy 4 and verse 5. Please. I get a reader for that one as well. Does anybody have any precepts from Isaiah 8 while we journeying on to Babylon?
You said Deuteronomy what?
4 and 5.
I got you. You need to read it, right?
Yes, sir.
4 and 5.
Yep.
Chapter 4, verse 5. God. So, we ready?
Yes, sir.
Everybody there? Yeah. Deuteronomy, chapter 4, and verse 5, and it reads as follows. Behold, I have taught you commandments and judgments, even as Yahuah Elohai commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it. Guard therefore and do them, For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of all the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this generation is a wise, understanding people. Continue.
That's it, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, hallelujah.
So, does anybody have any precepts to go along with that? Anything from New World? First covenant or second covenant? First writing, second writing is in there. Anything of that nature? What if not? But so yes, sir. Was that?
Oh, okay.
All right.
If we have any precepts related to the Deuteronomy 5 verse and 6?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, sir. It was talking again about guarding his word and that we get wisdom. And I had just noted Psalms 119, 101 and 102. And it kind of ties into some other conversation that we had today with judgment as well. So it talked about, behold, I've taught you commandments and judgment, that you should do so in the land you possess. And then verse 6 said, guard therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nations. In Psalms 119, 101, it reads, I have refrained my feet from every evil way. And I thought about what we talked about earlier with that evil conscience, that I might guard your word. And 102 says, I have not departed from your judgment, for you have taught me.
Yes. Yes.
Allow y'all.
Glory.
So now the next one that I have written down from the Torah is Deuteronomy 31 and 22. I'll read that one for y'all while y'all get when y'all get there. I have to go now. All right.
Deuteronomy what?
31 and 22. Are any of y'all familiar with the song with Moshe?
Not by heart.
Yes and no. I don't know about heart, but I'm
familiar. Yes, that's the question about that.
Gotcha. All right. And Deuteronomy 31, 22. Moshe therefore wrote this song the same day and taught it to the children of Yisra'el. So I do have a portion in here which I will go over some of the song of Moshe, but that might be a part 2 thing because I have a lot of stuff here, you know. But yeah, so we I haven't had a chance to actually sit down and listen to this song or read this song, but one of the verses that sticks out of this, right, where we've all said it as men and followers, right, where it says in verse 7, where it says, remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations, ask your father, let him show you your elders, and let them say to you. The whole time I didn't understand nor was taught that came from the song of Moshe and what she was singing to Yisra'el, right? But that's another teaching that I had out of from the Torah as far as something being taught. The next place I would like to go is Jubilees. So if you would turn me to Yovelim, chapter 1. Moshe, can I get you to read chapter 1, verse 5, please? It's only fitting. It's only fitting. It's befitting for you, sir.
Jubilees, chapter 1, verse 5.
Yes, sir.
And Moshe was on the mount 40 days and 40 nights, and Elohim taught him the earlier and later histories and the division of all days of the Torah, of the testimony.
Yeah. So, like you were mentioning earlier about fasting for 40 days and 40 nights and not coming down, we don't know if he didn't have pocket snacks or not, but he was up there being taught, being instructed. Same as Enoch was instructed. I don't know how many days Enoch was instructed for. Can't remember. It's in here. But he was instructed for 40 days and 40 nights. He was learning. He was being taught. He was
learning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People think he was just getting the 10 Commandments. According to this, what was he actually getting? Anyone?
History of the vision of all the days of the Torah.
Which was the history of the what?
Creation.
Creation.
So wrong.
No one thinks about that, man. Him going up on the mount and learning about, in the beginning, I created Shemayim and the earth. You know what I mean? Did anyone think about that? I mean, I'll just read it slow. It said 49, Elohim taught him the earlier and later histories, the division of all days of the Torah and the testimony. So he had to start with Genesis and say, yeah, I got this dust, right?
Right. I mean, it's right there. But in a Christian mind, we don't, first of all, we didn't have this. But it takes, to eat it slowly and chew it long. Because some of the things that are so easily missed are right there. And we might read it a little too fast, but it's right there. It says, 40 days and 40 nights. He taught him the earlier and the latter history of the division of all the days of the Torah. So he went through, so we have to understand also that Yah's time is not our time. And his days are not our days. So he might have been up there for 40 days, but he could have been up there for 40,000 years. We don't know. Just to give the depth of, how much he really took in, that he would come back and his countenance would be radiant. How much did he receive from Yah that he had to be wrapped up? And how much did he really, that's why the enemy was vying for his body. How much power was he really endued with, that he could die and still be vibrant and radiant without a soul? That's just something to sip on slowly. Allow Yah.
Yeah. Okay, so next we have any other precepts? Anybody got anything they want to go with the Jubilee portion of this? Got more. If not, we can roll down to Jubilee chapter 8, start at verse 1 and verse 2. I don't want to pick on anybody, so if anybody wants to read, please start reading.
Gotcha. Chapter 8, 2.
You start from verse 1 to get a snapshot of who is being taught here.
All right. So Jubilees, chapter 8, and verse 1. In the 29th Jubilee, in the first week, in the beginning thereof, Arpachshad took to himself a woman, and her name was Rashulia. Okay. The daughter of Shushan, the daughter of Elam. Excuse me. And she bore him a son in the 3rd year in this week. And he called his name Cain. And the son grew, and his father taught him writing, and he went to seek for himself a place where he may seize for himself a city. And he found a writing which former generations had carved on the rock, and he read what was thereon. And he transcribed it and signed onto it. For it contained the teaching of the watchers, and according with which they used to observe the omens of the sun and the moon and the stars and all the signs of heaven. And he wrote it down and said nothing regarding it, for he was afraid to speak it to Noah about it, lest he should be angry with him on account of them.
Yep. Appreciate it. So yeah, even with those, now if y'all remember when I mentioned earlier, we was talking about the H39:28 in the mother, right, where it says, used to describe those who habitually practice evil. So that is an example of one who ended up practicing evil, because he took this book, like I said, and he transcribed and sinned owing to it, right? Where it contained people of the watchers and Uhudis. So he was Kenan, right? Another son of, I just had it. Luke 3:36 tells you who this son was. So, Luke 3:36, which was the son of Kenan, right? Which was the son of Arphaxad, who was the son of Shem, who was the son of Noah, was the son of Lamech. And so he was one of Nahor? Or before Nahor. He was one of the sons of Arphaxad, who practiced lawlessness at that time, who was out here throwing people off. So that's another example of those who was teaching evil, right? So that you'll have those who are being taught properly and who's out here being taught to follow Torah, and those who take these things and teach wickedness. So be mindful.
Yes, sir.
You run into who's out here looking to appear wise, but they're still teach evil in the heartbeat.
Yeah. That verse where it talks about it's not what goes into the stomach, but what comes out.
Yeah.
So those brothers will be reading the same exact scripture or the same exact verse, and somehow they come out with Virgin Mary got raped by Roman soldiers, and that's how Jesus. I'm like, what?
Yeah, like,
and you're like, what's going on? And yeah, it's not what goes in, what comes out.
I was gonna use Jubilees 11, but yeah, we can scrap the Jubilees 11. Jubilees 47 and 9 though. We'll take it there. I'm gonna read it from 47 and 9. Greatly appreciate that.
Yep, right here. You must go.
Jubilees 47 and 9. And afterwards, when you were grown up, they brought you unto the daughter of Pharaoh, and you did become her son. And Amram, your father, taught you writing. And after you had completed 3 weeks, they brought you into the royal court.
So this was Moshe. He was in Pharaoh's house. Even in Pharaoh's house, he was still learning Torah, right? Because Moses was a Levite. He had to learn, but it doesn't go into it. In verse 10, yeah. And there were 3 weeks of court time before. Yep. Okay, so and then it goes to where Moshe had slew the man and hit him in the sand. But yeah, Moshe, wow, I don't think it talks about this in the Exodus much, where he was being taught, and he just said he learned all the ways of Pharaoh. And he grew up and under Pharaoh's way. But right here in Jubilees 47, it lets you know his father, who was a Levite, taught Moshe for 3 weeks. He was learned. He was being learned in his young age. Now for the big part. Enoch. So I got Enoch 8, verses 1 through 7 and 8. Enoch chapter 9, verses 5 through 6. Enoch chapter 10, verse 11. I need readers for all 6 portions of Enoch. I'll take that first one. I really appreciate you. That is Enoch chapter 8, verse 1, verse 3, 7, and 8.
Verse 1, verse 3, 7.
You gotta hear that name. You there, bro. You understand?
The one about Amazarok pot? Oh.
Yeah, the scapegoat.
Okay.
When we talked about Pesach.
I have 7 and 8.
Okay.
So,
I don't know. You want me to read 8 and 3?
Yeah, Benny, you got the first question of it.
Yeah, but man.
alright.
Enoch 8.
Enoch 8. Moreover, Azazel taught men to make swords, knives, shields, breastplates, the fabrication of mirrors, and the workmanship of bracelets and ornaments, the use of paint, the beautifying of the eyebrows, the use of stones of every valuable and select kind, and all of the sorts of dyes, so that the world became altered. Verse 3. The Mazarite are all the sorcerers and dividers of roots. Verse 7.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Tamil
taught astronomy.
Verse 8.
Yes, sir.
And
Asphodel taught the motion of the moon.
So, with those things that these fallen angels had taught mankind took it and perverted it and changed it so many wicked ways, right? So,
yeah, by skipping those verses, to the other verses, you read what they did, but after what they did comes the perversion. And that's what we're missing. So after the word altered, I think in verse 1. So what happened after he taught beautify themselves? Fake eyelashes were created by a demon. So what happened after that? You just read verse 2. Impiety increased and fornication multiplied, and they transgressed and corrupted all of their ways. That's what happened because that demon explained to a woman how to make yourself beautiful. Or if you're talking to demons, a witch, how to beautify yourself.
Mm-hmm. Hold on for that. Missed that. So with that part of chapter 8, it just perverted the hell out of everything. Just from impiety to everything. So next is chapter 9. Does anybody have anything else for that? Any comments? Any questions?
I think that's good.
I think that's good. Thing that you brought that up, because we get a look at the things that are truly perverting this world, and we get to understand and see that the true backing of it, the ownership of it is demonic. You know, this world has embraced those things that these demons have unleashed, and they call it good. They call it well-being. So you see these people out here, and man, they got the snuffleupagus eyelashes. They got all the makeup they can put on, and you see all these videos now how these women and men who claim to be women are using makeup to fool you in such a way that it almost looks like witchcraft.
I mean, truthfully, it is.
You know, we just read it right here in the Word. It is witchcraft. You know, it's demonic.
So we
see how they use these knowledges that the demons unleash, and they use it for straight wickedness. It's all for vanity. Allow y'all.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. And just to add to that, what Elder was saying, again, we always have to ask the question, what's the function? What was the motive behind that? And remember, with, like you said, it's perversion. The Hasatan wants to pervert whatever it is that the Most High does. And so we know that verse because we are fearfully and wonderfully made, right? And so however we were made, we were fashioned the way Yah wanted us to be made. So by doing these things in Enoch, you're trying to pervert the creation of Yah, even the makeup and everything else. Because now you're saying what Yah did wasn't good enough. So now I've got to enhance the workmanship of Yah. And so that again takes away from the beauty of what Yah created.
Yeah, we're talking here with that got so perverse here that I remember, black women want to look like white women, and white women want the shape of black women, and Latino women want the shape of this and that. Now it's like transvestites competing against all women. it's like you can't tell them apart anymore because they're both competing with the same makeup, the same weaves, the same eyelashes. That's how bad it's gotten. That's not even women against women anymore.
True. That's how the enemy. That's how you know the enemy is at the root of it, because he's the author of confusion. And he comes in, he steps in the times of trauma to snare us and to grab a stronghold for the filling of that traumatic act. He sends a ruach to soothe that person in what they're going through. And in the DSM, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual for Diagnoses and mental health issues, it used to be listed as homosexual people was a mental health disorder. It's definitely a mental health disorder. And when you analyze it further, you will find that homosexuality is a byproduct of trauma, i.e. a post-traumatic disorder. So,
Yes, sir. Hallelujah. Yeah. All right. So next, we're gonna go to 89. I think in Genesis. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So Enoch 89 chapter it's verse 1. Read up right.
I got you.
Sorry.
89. Verse what?
1. Yeah, just 1. Just 1.
89 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is the book of Enoch, chapter 89, and verse 1. And it reads as, Then one of those 4 went to the white cows and taught him a mystery. While the cow was trembling, it was born and became a man, and fabricated him for himself a large ship. In this he dwelt, and 3 cows dwelt with him in that ship, which covered them. All right,
So, this particular verse here is talking about these 4 angels that were, back in chapter 88, the last verse. It's talking about Noah and his 3 sons. It describes them as white, not like the color, but pure, righteous. And it was given them, taught them also the mysteries of the Shemayim. Taught them also the ways of Yahuah. So now they're given instructions to build the ark, get your family in, save as many souls as you can. So that's does anybody have any precepts for chapter 89? Anybody? If not, we're gonna move on. Good. Good. All right.
Letting you cook. Letting you cook.
And then this is a 7-layer crock pot lasagna. Okay. So yeah. All right. So it was more. There's more teaching in that, right? There's teaching of no. He was closer to Adam in that teaching than any other ones we read thus far. I got Jasher 3. I have several spots in Jasher that I'm coming from. Jasher 3, Jasher 4, and Jasher 9. Jasher 3, I needed to read it for Jasher 3, 1 through 5. Please. I got you up. Hold on.
Jasher 3, 1 through 5.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Enoch lived 65 years and begot Methuselah. And Enoch walked with Elohim after having begot Methuselah, and he served the master and despised the evil ways of men. And the soul of Enoch was wrapped up in the instructions of Yahuah, in the knowledge and understanding, and he wisely retired from the sons of men and secreted himself from them for many days. I guess that means he hid himself. And it was at the expiration of many years while he was serving Yahuah and praying before him in his house, and an angel of Yahuah called to him from Shemaim, and he said, Here I am. Here am I. Excuse me. Here am I. And he said, Rise and go forth from thy house and from the place where thou dost hide himself, and appear to the sons of men, in order that thou may teach them the way in which they should go, and work which they must accomplish to enter the ways of Elohim. And Enoch arose according to the word of Yahuah, and went from his house and from the place, from the chamber in which he was concealed. And he went to the sons of men and taught them the ways of Yahuah, and at that time assembled the sons of men and acquainted them with the instruction of Yahuah.
So here in verse 5, where it mentions he went and taught the sons of men. At this time, men were different families, different this, but there was no 12 tribes. You did have those who were wicked, right? Because they took the instructions from the watchers and perverted them, right? You do have those men, but the sons of men whom is being specifically talked about here are those who were pure and those who wanted righteousness, who wanted to learn these ways of our Father, who wanted to carry out this Torah, right? Because this is all Torah. Torah is law. Law is Torah. Instruction. It is all the things that Yah taught these men. He taught them to not kill, not to do this, not to commit adultery, and all the fornications of things at this time before it was written out and given to Moshe and the Israelites. Does anybody have anything that they want to verse out with this nation before we keep reading?
So that's a good word. Torah was always there. It was always, before it was written.
Ben and Yah, can I get you to read 6 through 13, Elder?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so before we go further, the Torah wasn't established. So what was established?
It was established. That's what we're saying.
It was established then. It was never. Yeah, it was never written out. It was orally given. That's why they would come to thousands of men would come to see Enoch And it's gonna talk about this here in a little bit, and how impactful the word of Yah was to these men, and how impactful Enoch was to these men for them to come and seek him out. Anyways.
Hey, go all the way down to 26, Ahkyim, in the same, what's that, Joshua 3:26? Mm-hmm. Yeah, go down all the way down to 26. It will tell you that the law was established there.
Yeah.
And he taught them wisdom and knowledge and gave them instructions, and he reproved them. And he placed before them commandments and judgments to do upon the earth, and he smote them. And he taught them everlasting life and dwelt with them, sometimes teaching them all these things. Hallelujah.
Yes, there it is. Hallelujah.
I know that was you, Ma. Reflective of your husband. Hallelujah. Salute the two of you. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah. It's that same chapter. You said what verse? 6 through 13. Yes, sir. Chapter 3 again, verse 8. And he ordered it to be proclaimed in all places where the sons of men dwell, saying, where is the man who wishes to know the ways of Yahuah and good works? Let him come to Enoch. And all the sons of men then assembled to him. For all who desired this thing went to Enoch. And Enoch reigned over the sons of men according to the word of Yahuah. And they came and bowed to him, and they heard his word. And the spirit of the Ruach of Yahuah was upon Enoch. And he taught all his men the wisdom of Yah and his ways. And the sons of men served Yahuah all the days of Enoch. And they came to hear his wisdom. And all the kings of the sons of men, both first and last, together with their princes and judges, came to Enoch when they heard of his wisdom, and they bowed down to him. And they also required of Enoch to reign over them, to which he consented. And they assembled in all 130 kings and princes, and they made Enoch king over them, and they were all under his power and command. And Enoch taught them wisdom, knowledge, and the ways of Yahuah. And he made peace amongst them. And peace was throughout the earth during the life of Enoch. And Enoch reigned over the sons of men 243 years. And he did justice and righteousness with all his people. And he led them in the ways of Yahuah. And these are the generations of Enoch: Methuselah, Elijah, Elimelech, 3 sons. And their sisters were Melchah, Naamah, and Methuselah lived 87 years, and he begot Lamech. And it was in the 56th year of the life of Lamech when Adam died. 930 years old was he at his death, and his 2 sons, with Enoch and Methuselah his son, buried him with great pomp. And as at the burial of kings, in the cave which Yah had told him. And in that place all the sons of men made a great mourning and weeping on account of Adam. It has therefore become a custom among the sons of men to this day. And Adam died because he ate of the tree of knowledge, he and his children after him, as Yahuah Elohim had spoken. I had read those two. I was like, oh, they had a whole procession, like I said, with great pomp, right? And this was before Joseph died, and before that one Egyptian started charging money for these whole funeral processions and everything. And I was like, ain't that something? I didn't know this. I did not learn that they had a very pompous funeral for Adam and buried him with his son, right? So, among that, let me see. Okay, yeah. You had Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech was around. They all had time with Adam and learned from Adam. Right? I think I was talking to Yamir, and if he was here, I could give him to remember. But we were talking about Shem and Abraham. I was like, yeah, Abraham learned from Shem, right? They was out here living a long time. They was old, right? So, and to see this is like, man, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, and Noah all had time with the first man. All learned from Adam, right? Because culturally, when we have children, right, if done right, Yisra'el was going to send his son to be taught Torah by you, Moshe, and to be taught Torah by you, yes, and taught by you. You're going to teach these babies as they're growing up. Then once they're old enough to go out and work with Yisra'el or work alongside be his future husband, they're going to not only have the knowledge that their father's going to give them, but they're going to have Torah already from y'all because y'all know Torah. These are the things that we were required to do and what we were supposed to do. Okay, then go ahead, sit down at the feet, learn from your granddaddy, Pop, father, right? Because I used to do the same thing, and I didn't realize I was doing the same thing to my later years. I used to go and sit with my great grandfather, right? It was the reason why I like orange slices and orange soda so much. But there was no my mom was like, yeah, Granddaddy John, he kept the Sabbath, he didn't do anything on the Shabbat or anything. Meanwhile, I'm like 2, 3, 4 years old, not knowing, but I'm always there. And I always put myself at his feet to just either sit there or just to be around my great grandfather, right? So that is a very cultural thing for us to go back and learn. So
Senegal too. I'm gonna give you a few steps to verse 8. In Senegal, even when the children come to the United States, when they turn about 2, 3 years old, they send them back to West Africa, and you don't come back until you're like 6. You know what I mean? So like between 3 and 6, you learn French, you learn Wolof, which is the tribal language, and you go to school a little bit, so you can kind of read 2 languages now, and then they send you to school. So all the African children meet, they might be a year behind, but they're smarter than everybody, and they can speak multiple languages. And that's because their parents ship them to grandma's house, in the homeland. And then when you return 6, they bring you back and you go to kindergarten and do everything that everybody else does. Right there in verse 8, I try to highlight it there on the screen. It says, and Ruach of Elohim was upon Enoch. And he, who's he? He taught all things to men, the wisdom of Elohim, and the ways of the sons of men. Served Yahuah all the days of Enoch, and they came to hear his wisdom. Or where did he get the wisdom from? He got Ruach Elohim. Yep, the Ruach of Elohim. That's going to be proven again in John chapter 14. In John chapter 14, you go down to verse 26. At the end of the day, when it says, test the spirit by the spirit, if I'm leading you in something, or if Azariah or elders leading you in something, you should be able to go back to Torah, or go back to the scriptures, or go back to the Torah, or go back to the epistle, and find out, is what this man's saying true. So I know it's 26. It says, but the Comforter, who's that? The Ruach HaKodesh, which is the Ruach HaKodesh, whom the Father will send in my name, he shall teach. You see that? He shall teach you all things, just like he taught Enoch, and bring all things to your remembrance whatsoever I have said unto you. So we know that Yeshua is the Word in the flesh. So anything that Yeshua says, the Holy Spirit or the Ruach HaKodesh will help us remember, just like he did for Enoch in verse 8 here.
Yes. Allow y'all. And I don't know about y'all, but I know when I get to reading and like even when we're together in this setting and when precepts are being brought out, like we're just reading verse John 14:26, I get this feeling of overwhelming, but it's not a bad overwhelming. It's like, man, the thing that I'm doing now, our ancestors did before, and these were great men, and there were great women as well of Yahuwah, right? And it's like, I'm thankful for this. Like, I'm elated to sit here, and I would love to have been able to be there as Enoch or Methuselah, Lamech, Noah, or Yeshua himself came down and taught and gave testimony of Yah's works. I'd love to be there and just listen and glean and catch all of that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of things. That way, when I left, I mean, I may not be there for 40 days and 40 nights like Moshe was, but dadgummit, I feel like I'm ready from the inside out, blowing like a big old glow stick. Like, oh, look, I got this for y'all. I'm coming to give this to y'all. So that's what I'm doing here today. I'm coming to give this to y'all.
Allow, yeah.
Yes, sir. This is a lot, but it's a good lot, right? And we ain't got much left, I promise you. But if you hop over to verse 19, and I'll take it up to 18.
I'm sorry, sir. What book?
Oh, we're still in Enoch. I'm sorry, Jasher 3. Yes, sir. We're still in Jasher 3. So, I'll catch it at 17 and I'll read down to 19. 19 was the initial, but I want to throw some context into it. And it was in the year of Adam's death, which was the 243rd year of the reign of Enoch. In that time, Enoch resolved to separate himself from the sons of men, to secret himself as at first in order to serve Yahuwah. And Enoch did so, but did not entirely secret himself from them, but kept away from the sons of men for 3 days, and then went to them for 1 day. Verse 19, and during the 3 days that he was in his chamber, he prayed to and praised Yahuwah Elohim. And the day on which he went and appeared to his subjects, he taught them the way of Yahuwah. And all they asked him about, Yahuwah told them. So, not only, once again, we know that Enoch had the spirit of Yahuwah on him. And they asked him in this time span, right? Everything that they thought of and asked, he taught them, right? Imagine any question that you have, like, oh man, why is this? Why was that? Or what can I do to save my brother? He's not feeling well. What can he do? Right? Every question that you had appeared to have in your mind, they asked Enoch, and Yahuwah gave them the answer to that question.
Wow.
You know. So, 22. Yes, sir. What's that?
That's happened before. I think it's Luke 2:47. And I'm going to turn to it. It's Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, 2:47. Somebody else could do that too. It's every sentence answer. Just what you yell if you don't know the answer.
Say Luke 2:47. All right.
And maybe sort of 46.
Okay.
Oh no, sorry, 45. This is when Yeshua got lost.
Oh yeah. Okay. And not having found him, they returned to Yerushalayim seeking him. And it came to be after 3 days, they found him in the set apart place, sitting in the midst of the teachers, both listening to them and asking them questions. All who heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers. Yes.
Man, he was the same way as Enoch, because he had the same set apart spirit. And
Yes,
don't
sir.
tell me that if you left your child somewhere for 3 days, that the Department of Child Welfare and Human Services wouldn't be there to pick them up. But anyway, different time.
Heartbeat. But yes, sir. That then he was like, you already knew all. He told his mother, you already knew I was gonna be here. I don't want you acting surprised, but you know I was gonna be here.
And you got up this taste slap out your mouth. And,
but he had that much authority to speak like that to his mother and not be disrespectful.
About the floor.
Yeah, right. Picking up little ticklets on the floor. Moshe, going back to Enoch 3, verse 7. Just the first part, it says, all the sons of men then assembled to him. I told you what you talked about earlier, they was going to tie into what I'm talking about.
Yep. He said 7. Yeah, and all the men.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes,
that's
sir.
coming. That's coming again.
Yes, sir. Hey, so, hey, the assembling together, they did not forsake each other for the sake of Yahuwah and to learn his word and to be taught what it is that Yah had for them. Right? Y'all still with me? Promise we almost done. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir. All right, so the next two verses that I have in chapter 3 of Jasher, we already read chapter 26, verse 26 of Jasher. Yirmiyahu, can I get you to read 22 through 25 for me, please, sir? Of Jasher chapter 3? Yes, sir. Yeah.
And the day came when Enoch went forth, and they all assembled and came to him. And Enoch spoke to them these words of Yahuwah, and he taught them wisdom and knowledge. And they bowed down before him, and they said, May the king live, may the king live. And in some time after, when the kings and princes and the sons of men were speaking to Enoch, and Enoch was teaching them the ways of Elohim, behold, an angel of Yahuwah then called unto Enoch from heaven, and wished to bring him up to heaven to make him reign there over the sons of Elohim, as he had reigned over the sons of men upon the earth. When at that time Enoch heard this, he went and assembled all the inhabitants of the earth, and taught them wisdom and knowledge, and gave them divine instruction. And he said to them, I have been required to ascend into heaven. I therefore do not know the day of my going. And now, therefore, I will teach you wisdom and knowledge, and will give you instructions before I release you. Come on. How to act upon the earth, whereby you may live. And he did so.
I'm like, yeah, a job up there, man. Like, hey, I got a new position for you, but you don't have to come up here to work it.
Yeah. Right. So.
Okay.
Yes. So, what was so good about that? And I caught the first woo when you said it, because I caught it too, Moshe. he never tasted death. He was righteous, and he was taught of Yahuah. He was one of Yahuwah's, one of his favorite disciples, right? He was translated, like it says in Jude, from his mortal being on earth to a position over the Ahkyim and the Shemayim, just by him being a disciplined disciple. So it's there. It's possible for us to continue to be a taught one in this word and have and be called to teach those whom we didn't think we'd be able to teach and lead until that time of the 1,000-year reign. And even go ahead.
No, go ahead, sir. Go ahead, finish. Talk about the 1,000.
I was gonna say, yeah, and even in that time, where it speaks about the 144,000 who will be with Yahusha at the beginning of that reign. These 144,000 who have not been identified yet, but they have been identified because they are disciplined disciples. They all been taught.
Yeah. There's that precept there, man, that I highlighted that you just read in 22 was strong, man. There's just like two precepts that come to mind. I'll just read it again for you. And the day came when Enoch went forth, and they assembled and came to who? They came to him.
They came to him.
And Enoch spoke to them the words of Yahuwah and taught them the wisdom Torah and knowledge Torah. And they bowed down before him and they said, "May the king live. May the king live." Okay? I mean, they have that in their head because they can only associate him with being the king. But let's get back here. That's going to happen to us if we continue to walk in Torah. And we're fortunate enough to be alive during the 1,000-year reign. People are going to come to us and do the same exact thing.
Yes.
Zechariah chapter 8, verse 23. Zechariah chapter 8, verse 23. Zechariah chapter 8, verse 23. The same exact thing. It didn't say Enoch went out looking for these people. It said he came out of hiding, and guess what we're supposed to be doing when the world's torn to crap? We're supposed to go to our Goshen and sit there. And then there's going to be a time that Abiyah Yeshua is going to come back and say, "Hey, I beat up all your enemies. I'm in charge now. Time to assign you all positions." And we're going to come out, and we're going to go, "It was the Negroes? Yeah, I can't believe it was the Negroes the whole time." You know? And when it was the colors, no, it's right. So they're going to get there, and they're going to realize it's the colors. And then verse 23 is going to come out. It says, "Thus saith Yahuwah." I'm reading Zechariah 8:23. Shavuot. "In those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold of all languages of the nations, even shall take the hold of a skirt of a Yahudim, saying, We will go with you, for we have heard that Elohim is with you." You see why people were coming after Enoch in verse 22? Because the Ruach was on him, and just like the Ruach HaKodesh will write the Torah in our hearts, people will come after us. Even during the time of Queen Esther, when they were trying to assassinate all of us and make sure the biggest genocide ever happened, bigger than Rwanda. You know, if you guys don't know about Rwanda, that's about Israelites too. You guys are familiar with tribes and them chopping down the tall trees of that coup d'etat that they had. They were in Israel, by the way. They wanted to do the same in Babylon, now taken over by Medes Persia. So Queen Esther helped us not be massacred. The king allowed us to defend ourselves when they found out what Haman was trying to do to us. So we were allowed to kill our enemies, even in the land of our captivity during that time. And during that time, everyone realized that the Yah of the world, the creator of all things, was with us. And many of them changed their ways. Matter of fact, Emma's going to read it in Esther chapter 8, verse 17. Esther chapter 8, verse 17. When you're ready, one.
In every province and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Yahudim had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day. And many of the people of the land became Yahudim, for the fear of the Yahudim fell upon them.
You see what happened? Yah was sending us in Medes, Persia, and all of a sudden people are like, hey, I'm not even a Babylonian anymore. I'm not a Medes Persian. I want to be one of y'all.
Right.
I want to be one of y'all. You can call me Yahudim too. Call me Israel too. I want to be part of under Israel too. Oh, yeah.
All right. That part. Last two verses of chapter 3. I need to read it for 30 and 31. Jasher. Yeah, let me last two verses under 30 and 31. Yes, sir.
And all the sons of men assembled and came to Hanak that day. And all the kings of the earth with their princes and counselors remained with him that day. And Hanak then taught the sons of men wisdom and knowledge and gave them divine instructions. And he bade them serve Yahuwah and walk in his ways all the days of their lives. And he continued to make peace amongst them.
Yeah.
That's it?
Yes, sir. Just I need the 30 and 31 to finish that off.
Okay.
So once again, there's that word, assembled, taught, right? Coming together, learning, being learned, catching all the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Let's see. Oh, wait, hold on. I got you covered. Yeah. Sorry, Moshe, Iman, you dropped the last part of what I wanted to go over here in the chat already. That was Jasher 9, 5 and 6. So I could close out on that part for the day for this lesson, part 1.
That's right. I gotta tell you something.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I've enjoyed my time with you today. Oh, man.
Appreciate it.
Chapter 9.
Verse 5.
It's fun to be able to comment and just rep your lesson and everything. And I don't have to think about getting on track because it ain't my lesson to facilitate anyway. I love ya. I just come in and do what my wife. She just come in and make dishes. I don't even know what she's saying. She just came and messed it up.
I ain't even making decisions. I'm laying down. Yeah. But it's to close out on part 1 of this. Jasher 9, 5 and 6. Ooh, it's not read yet. You wanna hop in there with this thing? Y'all been quiet. No, I'm messing with you. Whoever wants to read, please read.
What is it, Jasher? What?
Chapter 9, verses 5 and 6.
I will do it because I'm not laying down.
Look out for them.
Yeah, my thumb's sore. So, yeah.
Allow ya.
I heard ya. So, chapter 9 and verse what?
5 and 6.
5 is 6. Okay. Okay, 5 and 6. And in chapter 9 and verse 5, and it reads, And when Abram came out of the cave, he went to Noah and his son Shem, and he remained with them to learn the instructions of Yahuwah and his ways. And no man knew where Abram was. And Abram served Noah and Shem, his son, for a long long time. And Abram was in Noah's house 39 years, and Abram knew Yahuwah from 3 years old. And he went in the way of Yahuwah until the day of his death. And Noah and his son Shem had taught him. And all the sons of the earth in those days greatly transgressed against Yahuwah, and they rebelled against him, and they served other Elohims, and they forgot Yahuwah. And they forgot Yahuwah had created them in the earth, and the habitations of the earth made unto themselves at that time, every man his Elohim, Elohim of wood, the stone, which could neither speak, hear, nor deliver. And the sons of men served them, and they became their Elohim. That's it, right?
Yes, sir. But you see that mention other Elohims of wood and stone. It's not, that won't be the first time the sons of men, or the sons of the earth, or the children of Yisra'el get out here and serve other Elohims of wood and stone, right? I'm not saying that the fact that Enoch wasn't around anymore, that these men decided to chase after their own wicked ways and learn the ways of the watchers. I'm not saying that at all. But had Enoch still had not been translated around to give this instruction, because once again, Abram learned from Shem and Noah, right? Here before the flood, after the flood, a little bit after way after the flood, and Abraham learned from them, right? So who's to say that there weren't other men? Because Terah could have learned, Nahor could have learned, but they didn't. They wanted to do what they wanted to do, right? They learned from Nimrod, Namrud. They learned from him, and Ham. That's what they decided to learn. Ham had learned what he learned and what he was taught from the Watchers when he took a book, Canaan. So, family, like I said, this is part one. I got more. This is a 7-layer crock pot lasagna. It's heavy. It's only thick. You know what I'm saying? Extra meat, extra cheese, some noodles, some sauce. We in there. I will say this. You keep learning. You keep teaching. Oh, Ima, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. No, I was just going to say, as you were going through the lesson today, and a lot was emphasized on, the fact that these men learned up under generations, and that there was oral history that was passed down. And immediately, for some who are old enough to remember, remember back in the day, we used to talk about griot, right? And a griot, and it made me think about that. And sometimes if you look at the definition, it'll tell you that the whole job was they were oral historians, and that they would preserve the tribe's traditions and genealogies, and they were also seen as like cultural guardians. And so as we were reading through today, that's what came to mind was, back in the day, I remember that growing up, that was still a thing when I was growing up, to have griots in the community that would just pass down traditions and pass down stories and things of that nature. And now reading this, it's like, again, this came from us. So now that's just all I want to say. Just made me think about that.
Yeah. What's interesting, I think Uncle Yehuda mentioned it, that how long it took Abraham to learn everything from them. It says, that 39 years, basically, not going to call it 40 years, to learn all that. You know what I mean? It took Moshe 40 days, or did it take him 40 years? I don't know, stuff like that. Understanding what, a lot of times people just thought, hey, Abraham was the wise man, he was the most honorable, so therefore y'all picked up. No, dude, he was kicking it with Noah and Shem and getting the full understanding of Torah orally, so he can be the father of our nation, one of the forefathers of our nation, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And if we had this, I think people would not grasp the Christianity so quickly. Because Christianity, these are not the forefathers. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are not the forefathers of Christianity. It's like Polycarp, totalitarian. They're just from 5 other guys that have nothing to do with Hebrews. You know, Augustine, you know, all these other people. When it's really just Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Those are the forefathers of our faith. And they learn from Noah, Shem, Methuselah, Enoch, and all these other people that Christians don't probably know what they're about.
Right. And even with Yaakov, he went with Shem. You know, so like I always had to, when I was younger, I love old people, man. But like to go and sit with your granddaddy and just either on that lumpy mattress, go there sitting and learning, because everybody's granddaddy had a lumpy mattress, right? Or at the foot of the recliner, and he's telling you things. Hell, go get this, come back. You come back, you got a whole new lesson to learn from him, new story, new this, or new that. Oh, the one time, well, I don't need you to go out. You see something that you want, make sure it don't belong to your neighbor, make sure you ain't stealing it, or something along those lines, right?
Yeah, older are just spies now, man. And they're just spies to the sense where, unfortunately, when you talk about those older men who were not wise, that some men are in their 50s and they still operate like they're 25. And you've got women who are in their 50s, and instead of trying to be an imam and teach women how to love their husbands and be chase keepers at home, they're at the club with their 25-year-old granddaughter. You know what I mean? I said granddaughter, not daughter. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're having children so fast that between 16, 30, and 50, you can have like 3 generations.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Coach Amir, you got something?
Yes, sir. I was just going to say, speaking about your elders and people. I think in my age group, the world has put out everything comes so fast, like fast food, and like our phone wise, you can get an answer so fast. And as people get older, not all people, but a lot of times their mind gets slower. Even if it's the fact that they know the story, but it takes time. And so, like, I even know, even in these type of lessons, that my attention span, I'm good with y'all for like 2 hours, but then after that, I might have to get up and go take a 10-minute nap, or I might have to get up and get some food to, stay with you guys, because the world has taught us, get this message fast, or get this homework answer fast, or get this food fast. And so we kind of despise our elderly now, because it's like, they need time to get that story out. They're telling you something from 75 years ago or 60 years ago, and I can't just give you that in 30 minutes. I have to give you that in a span of 2 days or a weekend. And so I think we despise them because it doesn't come fast. And wisdom is not looked upon the same way now as it is back then. We're looking for wisdom through AI, or we're looking for wisdom through I don't know if my people have told you guys, but I cannot, for some reason, watch anything that is not in 2 times speed. Like, I kid you not, I don't know what's going on. Pray for me, but like, even though if you're watching something funny, try not to laugh with me on. I was like, Mom, it would be much funnier in 2 times. Like, it wasn't because I knew it was just funny. It was like, okay, it's a 17-minute video.
I can watch an 8.
Yeah, let's get to the point. So I do feel bad in that, because I think it was definitely taught by our system that we're supposed to get things or stories and answers fast. But that's not how our elders were taught us. So tell me what you want to know.
Yeah, you got something out.